welcome. We are delighted to have you with us for today's session. Thank you for taking the time to join us. It's 3 p.m. Central European Time. And before we begin, please take a moment to get comfortable and familiar with the GoToWebinar platform. You will see on the control panel that there is a question section. So I encourage you to use it and send your questions or comments, and we would gladly answer them at the end of the session during our Q&A part. Let me quickly walk you through today's agenda. We'll start with an overview of how underused technology and untracked licenses are inflating the IT spend, and why this is not just an IT issue, but a financial one. Then you'll hear a real-world example of a Swiss bank and how Newired help in preventing waste from day zero. We'll also explore how analytics reveal where systems deliver value and where they don't deliver value. And finally, we will open the floor for your questions. I'm Loredana Staiko from Newired, and I'm pleased to introduce today's speakers, Stefano Rizzo, CEO of Newired, and Philip Zollinger, CEO of Evocean. So with that, I will now hand it over to Stefano, who will start with some surprising data on the real impact of digital investment inside organizations. Stefano, to you.
Hi, Lori. Thank you very much. Show my screen. Can you see my screen, Lori?
Just give me a second. Yes, now I can see it.
Okay. So thanks for your introduction. In today's session, as Lori was saying, we will give a look into some data, some findings of the market. I'm Stefano Rizzo, I'm the CEO in Newired. This session is actually kind of a friendly session in which we host one of our partners, Philip Zollinger from Switzerland, and beside some findings, he will give some real-world data. Just to start considering how many tools do companies use in their daily jobs. Gartner has been identifying a surprising price, which is $1,370 per year in SaaS spending, means money spent on licenses or SaaS licenses. And at least or around 25% of these licenses are not used. Even more interesting is the fact that average companies do maintain between 100 and 400 applications, and each day, each employee have to use between 30 and 40 applications. Actually, companies also measure or at least feel that there is a pretty low adoption of these technologies. So there is a pretty big spending, as you see, and probably not much awareness about the effectiveness of this spending. So the return of this investment is perceived to be sometimes low. And the reasons are multiple. Software is purchased before adoption is planned. There is no cross-system owner, so somebody taking care not just of the vertical application, but of the ecosystem of applications. Training is sometimes ineffective because most of the times is upfront training. So when onboarding new colleagues, when onboarding new applications, users get some training. After some use, they tend to forget, of course, most of the features. And also, companies are not able to have any kind of data, so they don't have a telemetry of what's really happening in terms of adoption and use. Most of the times, also, digital processes are very complex. So having to deal with 30 to 40 applications, every user have to deal with probably hundreds, sometimes thousands of different processes, some of which are used daily. So maybe some 10, 15 of these processes are continuously in use. So people are able to manage them. But there are some other thousands of processes that are somehow less used, and so which knowledge is poor, or even usage is very low. This is mainly due to the fact that inside tools, when really using digital technologies, SaaS applications, you don't have guidance. So you have to go back and find your training, find your manuals. Just one number for you to keep in mind: there is a potential impact of 40% in digital waste. So putting together the fact that what Karen said, that 25% of tools are not used, plus the fact that those that are used are not effectively used or are used just partially, we can easily find that 40% of the spending in SaaS applications is lost. Actually, as you can imagine, this is not just an IT problem. It's really a financial problem for companies. There can be a huge possibility of optimizing digital spending. Some examples are that we might find that there are licenses in our engineering tools, in our CRM tools, in our ERP tools that are totally unused. We can also see that as most of SaaS applications have modules and have payment terms that are tied to different modules, we can see that there are modules that nobody uses, or they are very poorly used. There are also tools that are duplicated, so the same process is covered by different technologies and even overlapping features. So not the whole tool which is overlapping, but also features or processes that are overlapping between one tool to the other one. So on top of this introduction, I hand over the presentation to Philip with his real-life example.
Thank you. Do you see my main screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I have to put that away. Okay, sorry. Let's get here a bit organized. Thank you, Stefano, for that intro and the waste, which is a financial cost. And I want to go a bit further into this and from my experience. My name is Philip Zollinger. I'm the founder of Evocean. We bring solutions to the market in the field of digital transformation, digital adoption, and systems engineering, leveraging third-party solutions for users to work smarter and to increase employee engagement. I founded Evocean 20 years ago, and yes, it's been a journey and a ride, up and down. And today I would like to share some experiences and insights in why we believe the software is not being adopted as expected. I see a lot of software being bought, rolled out, and the user adoption is really not as expected. And still today, when I talk to managers, they don't really take the time to think. on how and what the impact of that software will be. They think evaluating, selecting, and a 2-day training is fine, and the users will adopt and know how to use the software. But they don't really see the impact of the new software and how this has an impact on the behavior of the users, because it's really a behavioral change which needs to be guided and not just a software trained in its functionalities. So it's more of a human impact, not a training and not a technology one. And here I would like to go a bit deeper into this, because with anything new, you lose your workflows, as such your competence and your confidence and shortcuts. So you don't feel as strong as you were with the old software. And I believe the users, they know they have to move and change. So it's not a resistance to change. It's a resistance based on fear, a fear of failure, which is the underlying paradigm. And here I want to go even a step deeper in the types of people and different sorts of people. And we have this adoption curve from, it's quite known. And many people think, train and they'll find a way. Yes, the innovators, the early adopters, I guess myself, I'll find my way. My curiosity, my openness will drive me. But not all are innovators and not all are early adopters. In fact, most are not. And people are afraid to do a mistake, so they need more support, they need more of a guiding line in their context. And I think it also has to do with how we ask for help. When I led engineering teams in my past, before I founded Evocean, also even during this time, the first thing I always said, when you are stuck, ask your neighbor, ask your colleague, call your wife, doesn't matter whoever, and it will help you advance in solving your problem. But I realized not many did that. Some opened up at the coffee table and they discussed and found the problems or solved certain problems, but most kept quiet in their little corner and want to solve it themselves. They didn't ask anyone, they didn't want anyone to see that they did not know. However, I think in our world, this humility we have to really is becoming crucial for everyone. And if it's not there, there's a reason. Experience probably has shown them that if they act that way, it's not good towards the boss or towards the outside world. A reason also why ChatGPT has taken this skyrocketing adoption, because people find their help there without opening up to others. If the help is good or not, that's another question, and I don't want to go into that. But in the older days, we can already say older days, we use Google and or Stackfield or some other platform where we could anonymously ask for help or get help, because autonomy is a key need for the human. And another perspective of this is our brain and how it functions. I'm very interested in the brain and how it functions, and been reading a lot of things. And I've come to realize that if you're an early adopter, you'll go to trainings with full motivation, you will learn a lot, you will be attentive, you'll absorb everything, and probably it may be enough for you to use the software. But for many who go there, who are forced to go to a training, they have a certain fear, certain stress, you don't even have the ability to learn. So the next day they go back and they will have forgotten everything they've learned. So that's one of the main reasons. I mean, traditional training for this case will not help. Don't get me wrong, training is good for certain cases and contexts, but for introducing a new software processes, it's probably one of the worst investments you could do. So you need guidance. And we all know when adoption fails, broken processes, compliance issues, overwhelmed support, and people just using whatever tool they want to use. So shadow IT, no knowledge transfer, leading loss of productivity, loss huge costs, and maybe even businesses going broke. So that's where the underlying root causes are. Stefana did one perspective in the width. I'm bringing one perspective more in the software of a software, and there's probably not. I mean, there's more things to hear, but you can see that a lot of it is to do with how much support we give the user in the context that he's enabled and can feel good and can perform his job well. And here, putting that into context of a customer rolling out a new CRM, they, well, fortunately, they did realize that the CRM is a change. Certain processes will change a lot. They had the CRM before, but it will some of them will change a lot. That complexity, how do they bring it over to their users? They felt an internal resistance. They thought it was a resistance to change. I think it's a resistance to fear, based on what I said before. But at least they saw this adoption risk, and they saw that the user has to be enabled, and they can't just train and pray. They will. They had adoption in mind, so they focused on their actual users, which they had to transfer from today to tomorrow in the next tool. They mapped the process, defined the most critical ones, and started building those in-app guidance in the most critical ones. Building up on those, making sure that yeah, the criticality is met, and because you can't do everything at a time. But now they're building up the other stories for onboarding for new employees and in the width. And in that journey, the analytics is extremely important, because it gives you directly the feedback of which journeys are being used, where are they broken off, where do they need support, and it gives you that that safety net. And for the planning, it gives you the insights which you can then also direct your resources, because you can't, of course, do everything and train and put guidance everywhere. Some numbers from various customers, and you can see there are quite various parts where this works. However, the biggest profit, I think, is the time to value. So the faster your software is adopted by the more people, that's where the value lies, and it's that waste which you don't want to take away, the friction, and that's where the highest ROE is. And you can't really measure that in a way, but that's where the real ROI is in the whole thing. And finally, of course, the customer satisfaction, and I believe you can also measure the engagement rate, and one of the key measures is surely also how your support is. The tickets are reduced, because you can basically leverage the support information directly into the app. And as I said, it's this visibility gap which is key in making this work. Otherwise, again, you'll just write journeys, and if you don't measure it, if you don't check, if you don't look, it will not help you to guide. So the analytics part in this adoption is key to get that ROI, and also key to make it successful. So in a nutshell, the two ingredients which are needed for a faster, sustainable software adoption is the in-app guidance and the analytics. And Stefano will go more into details and how simple it is. My final advice is when you choose a tool, make sure it doesn't overload you, make sure it's simple, and make sure it doesn't need a horde of consultants, because that will slow you down again. Thank you for your appreciated time, and I'll give back to Stefano.
Thanks, Philip. It was very inspiring. And I really appreciate also the discussion about how our brain works. And I'm not sure if my brain works such nice, but anyway. So my screen is back now. On top of what you just commented and with the real experience that you are sharing, Philip, in the last part of this presentation, so in the next 10 minutes, we will give a closer look into what digital adoption can do for you in this regard. Actually, two main use cases or less / feature sets. The first one is the fact that the digital adoption acts as a layer that stands on top of any web application, also on top of multiple web applications, driving users, guiding users while they work, while doing. And in this magical layer, you can inject any kind of content. You can create, users can create content to guide users in different processes at different time. This will ensure that the learning will not happen just in the beginning, but also it will be durable over time. When people tend to forget, when people start using something they never used inside applications. And this also let people discover features inside applications and have a better use of the investments that the company did. At the same time, while users are driven by digital adoption, tools like Newired, not every digital adoption tool does this, are able to measure what's happening, and so give insights about the behavior of users. So simply knowing what kind of applications users are using and which feature set are under use or are used more or less or nothing. All data can be available both in aggregate or individual, also according to your privacy settings of the technology. So the combination of these two things, guidance, so better use, better adoption, and monitoring, let companies actually save money. In the next part, we will see a few minutes demo how this works on the field. So we have a CRM application, and we have Katerina that will drive you through this demo.
Newired, the digital adoption solution, enables users to follow step-by-step guidance in any web application, helping to support onboarding, reduce pressure on help desks, and ensure that processes are followed correctly. We deliver assistance that matches users' roles and skills. While doing so, Newired can optionally track user behavior to gain insights into how users interact with both the guidance and the application itself, gather valuable feedback, and identify areas where improvements may be needed. This kind of tracking is available in the Analytics section, which is accessible from the Newired portal. The Analytics page contains several subsections, and we will start first with the Journeys section. In the Summary section, there are basic information such as how many users have worked with the journeys within the selected time range, how many journeys have been started, and how many of them were successfully completed. The user engagement section presents overall DAP usage performance in a graphical format. In addition to the total number of users and launched journeys, you can also see the number of journey issues, which helps quickly identify whether users failed to complete some journeys. In the general overview section, you can see how users have been engaging with the journeys within the selected time frame. The journey usage overview table contains one row for each journey launched by users. It displays how many users ran each journey, how many total runs occurred. You can find the percentage of users who completed a specific journey and the percentage of successful runs. The journey usage is also visualized in a heat map showing the total number of journey runs with varying color intensity, which is making it easy to identify which journeys are used the most. The journey usage trend area chart provides a graphical overview of how each journey has been used within the selected time period. This chart can be displayed either as absolute counts or as percentages. The next section is the result analysis section that helps you understand the outcomes of each journey's performance. No data status appears when users close the browser window while a journey is running. Failed journeys indicate that there may be a problem with the journey's logic, causing it to fail. Drop-off status is shown for journeys that were manually stopped by users before the last step was completed, and the success status is shown when the journey was successfully completed to the end. In this section, analytics data can also be displayed as either absolute counts or percentages. The journey fail and journey drop-off tables show detailed information about the journey issues over time. These views help determine whether the issues are consistent or only occasional. Journey failures usually indicate problems with the journey's logic, while drop-offs may suggest that the guidance is confusing or unclear at some point. Time effort on the journey is a graphical view showing how time-consuming each journey is. By hovering over the bars, you can see more detailed information, such as the maximum and the minimum time users spent on that specific journey. For each journey, you can access detailed analytics focused specifically on the journey. By clicking on the journey name, you are redirected to its detailed analytics view. The user completion table lists all users who interacted with the selected journey, showing who completed it successfully, including the date of completion, and who launched this journey but did not finish. In the journey analysis area chart, you can view the journey's overall performance results. The view can be switched again between absolute counts and percentages. And the step analysis area chart provides similar information but focused on each individual step of the journey. This is particularly useful for identifying which steps are failing, so you can adjust the content accordingly. And the time effort on a step view shows how time-consuming each step is. In all the analytics sections, you can switch between different time periods to filter the data as you need. You can also view analytics data based on the segmentation if it has been applied to your content. This allows you to obtain more precise insights, for example, data related to specific user groups.
So this was for the demo.
Newired the digital.
Sorry. So in this quick demo, we saw that several information are available when running our analytics on top of SaaS applications. So when talking about journeys means use cases, you can imagine this in one specific application like in the demo, or as I said, in multiple applications. So if Newired can become your process book, and you can measure any time at any step for every user, for every segment of users, what is the real usage of the technology. So some quick takeaways before handing this webinar. Actually, we've been discussing with our customers, we have seen that the most relevant KPIs for CIOs are, of course, the adoption rate, so the percentage of used licenses and used feature sets, the feature utilization, so inside a single application, which features are most important and which less, and also license efficiency. It's the case when pools, and these are shared between different users. Of course, cost avoidance, so cutting the expenditure on those tools or feature sets that you don't use. How long does it take to get into proficiency for users? And very important also, the reduction of process errors, which means reduction of unconformities in case of any initiative, any norm which is in place, like ISO or whatever. So understanding if having competent users, having good processes, having strong guidance, how many benefits in terms of reduction of unconformities happen. So closing up, from this analytics, you can easily get into a good return of investment. So organizations can reclaim 30 to 40% of wasted IT spend by means of reducing license expenditure, optimizing modules, eliminating duplicates, improving processes, and having higher productivity. And one last recommendation, you don't need a big bang to start saving. You can start with 1-2 critical applications, take some important processes, 1-2 important processes, 1-2 flows, and start improving adoption and start analyzing how users do behave. So that was all on my side. I thank you for attending. I thank Philip for his great insights, and we open up to questions.
Thank you, Stefano. Thank you, Philip. I saw that we have some questions. The first one, is it possible to share this presentation after this meeting? Absolutely. You will all get the video recording once it's being processed. Usually it takes 1 to 2 days to receive it. Another question I see, how fast can an organization recover wasted investments?
I can take this one, and probably you, Philip, you can then put some more arguments into that. Of course, this doesn't happen the next day. Just to avoid inflected expectations. So introducing digital adoption in general in an organization is not a long process. Starting small, as I said at the end, might take 1-2 weeks, no more than that. So creating some content or just starting analyzing what users are doing is a very easy process. These tools are not intrusive. You don't need big integrations. These integrations happens on the UI. So starting using this is pretty quick, and then it will take probably 1-2 months measuring the effective use of applications in order to start saving. Any comment on this, Philip?
No, absolutely. I think the important thing is that you can really start small and start focused, and it's cumulative. So every investment is going to be able to use in future. So even if you start small, then you can roll it out. I would always start small to get comfortable, and then when you're comfortable, you're also faster in doing the right journeys at the right time and in the right way. But even writing the journeys, you don't need consultants. You can do everything yourself. You can get help from us, from Newired, to augment that if you want that or if you need that. But the best thing is that your experts are involved and they get the hang of it fast. And like that, also you remain agile and adaptive. And yeah, and then you can, if you want to, put it out to a service organization. That depends all on your setup. But yeah, start small, so get going. The invest for the tool is also low, so it's a matter of doing and learning and improving, and the users will only be happy about it.
Well, in a nutshell, I would add that you need an owner of the initiative.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't need too much people involved, but having one owner taking care of this, probably even part-time if you start small. You don't need one dedicated person. That's very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see another question saying, do users perceive overlays and guidance as intrusive? Interesting.
Well, it has two different angles, I think. From one perspective is guidance. We all remember, well, people having gray hair or no gray hair as me. We do remember that in Windows, a long time ago, there was an annoying clip that was jumping out, telling you what to do or not what to do. And this was annoying because it was very difficult to kill it. Actually, the good digital adoption technology has levels of proficiency. So you can be a beginner, you can be an intermediate, you can be an expert. You can define even the levels. And at different levels, you get different guidance. So when you're a beginner using an application or a feature set, you will be handheld at every step. Then when you get more proficient, you will get guidance only on those features that you were not using since a long time. And when you're a pro or an expert, you will get guidance only when you ask for it. So on the side of guidance, we have the possibility to manage this intrusion. On the side of analytics, this question might mean, do people don't like to be monitored while they're using tools? So this is an interesting thing, and it's very depending on the tradition and on the let me say governance of different companies. I can say that we have customers that track each single user with their name, and they know if they were learning technologies, and if they are fully onboarded, yes or no, and what they do. And on the other extreme, we have companies that cannot track any information at all because they protect totally this kind of privacy. This is mainly not for employees, but maybe for external partners or customers that they are not how to do that. But there is always probably the truth is in the middle. So having the ability to have anonymous data or data in the aggregate will let you save anyhow in your licensing and in your use. So you don't need really to know if Stefano was using that feature, yes or no. You really need to know how many of your 2,000 users do use that feature. And if you find it's to just one or two, knowing who they are is probably not so important.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the DNA cultural needs to fit into your culture and needs to be surely looked at when you set it up. At what time, how deep you go, because as you say, some is the information used in a positive way, or is the information used in a negative way? That's it's a cultural part.
I was about to say no questions, but I see just one arrived regarding privacy. How do you handle security and privacy requirements? I think this is for you, Stefano.
Yes, probably part of the answer was already given in the previous question, but we are very keen in privacy. That's one of our key features, is the fact that our whole technology stack can be installed on-prem. So behind your firewall, behind your security restrictions, so nobody gets in touch with the information. How do you use your tools, especially in regulated industries, is your intellectual property. So the processes that you can map inside our journeying and also the usage of this guidance is part of your intellectual property, because every company works differently. So we have different products. Otherwise, we would have all the companies providing the same products, right? So we are very, very sensitive into this, and we do protect this either with our private hosting setup, or if you are even more anxious about data security, we install on-prem, actually even at the same price with the full feature set. And about privacy, so GDPR situations or information protection, provided that nothing goes outside of your organization. You can have also regulations about filtering. So by default, we don't take any personal information of users, even not their name or their user ID. So this is definitely configurable for companies, as I said, to collect or not private information.
Is it possible to make software usage analyze for many different type of platform, like ERP, Microsoft apps, SaaS solutions, etc.?
Oh, yes, of course. Good digital adoption technologies work seamlessly on any application. And so in the same cockpit, it was not shown in the demo, you can see analytics related to single technologies where you deploy digital adoption onto, or also aggregate data of different technologies. So absolutely, yes, we have customers in many in the ERP area. Of course, CRM is another popular target application, but also HR, SaaS solutions, custom web-developed solutions, and a lot of, let me say, engineering technologies, engineering tools that have very sophisticated customizations, so very heavily process-based customizations. So absolutely, the answer is just yes.
Thank you. I see there are no more questions. No, nothing else. In case there's something else popping up your mind, do not hesitate to write us. I thank you, Stefano and Philip, for your presentations and valuable insights today. And thank you also to our guests for joining and for staying with us until the end of this session. From my side, I hope to see you soon during our next events. And until the next time, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.